Hey, it's Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to thread and wind a bobbin on the JUKI LB5020. Alright, so to thread the JUKI HZL LB5020, so I'm going to take my spool of thread and just slide it onto this thread spool pin. Be careful not to pull this up or down and yank on it, so just slide it through. Then I'm going to, and I like to place it like this with the smaller end going in to keep that spool cap or the spool end there steady. And then you'll see that on the top here, you're going to have solid lines and dashed lines. The solid lines represent where you need to feed the thread through to get it to thread the machine, meaning that's going all the way through all this stuff here and into the top needle, right? The needle that you're stitching with. The dashed lines here represent how to feed the thread when you are winding a bobbin, and the bobbin winder is here. So let's go ahead and wind a bobbin first because you'll need to do that before you thread your sewing machine. Now the machine itself comes with 4 bobbins, and I'm just going to reach in here, and it looks like I've used them all up already, so let me grab one. So we will position the bobbin on the bobbin winder and just make sure that you push it all the way down so it's flush. I will follow from number 1 to number 2, and then it says number 3. So it's like 3 steps here to wind the bobbin. Number 1 is telling me it's coming off of the spool, and then it's going around this little round thing here, which is represented by that circle in the diagram. Now this is spring loaded, meaning you can't just wrap it around. You also need to make sure that the thread is actually like flossed in this, okay? If it's not flossed under there, then this spring loaded tensioner is not really going to be doing anything to apply tension while you're winding a bobbin. And you'll find that if you start winding the bobbin and the thread is going all over the place or it's like super loose, 99.9% of the time, it's because you haven't flossed the thread under this tension assembly here so that it can apply pressure and then get an even filling of the bobbin. All right, so that's a quick troubleshooting tip. So here, and then it's going over there, and it shows me that it's going around here. Now you can cut it and put it through the little hole. I don't have time for all that, so all I do is usually wrap it around the bobbin 5 or 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, why not? Then I will cut my thread. Then I leave like a little tail so that I can hold on to it. You're going to push the bobbin over to the right to engage the bobbin winder, and you'll see that on the screen here it'll show bobbin, letting you know it's engaged, and it also has the foot pedal icon because it's telling you in order to actually wind the bobbin, now you need to press your foot pedal. So let me reach over here. And then what I do is I get ready to press the foot pedal and I hold on to this little tail until it pulls it from my fingers. And just keep holding down the press or the foot pedal until your bobbin is fully wound. Notice that the speed control of the machine here also affects the speed at which it winds the bobbin. So if I slow it down, the bobbin winding is going to go slow. And if I speed it up, it will go faster. A lot of beginners get worried when they're winding a bobbin because they're not sure when to stop. They don't want to go overboard. Most machines will just stop. When it fills and it feels that it hits this little thing here, which is also adjustable, it's going to say, okay, hey, the bobbin is plenty full right now. And though you keep your foot on the foot pedal, you'll see that it will stop. So I'll just go to that point so you can see my foot is still on the pedal. And you see it just stops. It slows, and then it just stops. All right. So now we need to push this over to the left to disengage the bobbin from winding. We pop it off of here and just cut your thread. So now I have a perfectly wound bobbin. The tension is good on here, and we're ready to thread the machine so we can then insert the bobbin to start sewing. So now to thread the machine, we're going to use the solid black lines. So now those no longer are in play. Now we're going to come here. 1 and 2, it's telling me it's coming from here behind this piece, and you'll see the arrow there. I'm coming down here in this slit. Then if you look under here, you'll see a number 3, and that's kind of has a U-turn swinging you back up, telling you, hey, come back up with the thread. And I'm coming up on the right side of this metal piece. This is your take-up lever. If you look here, now we have a number 4 telling us come over and down this side. So I came up on the right side of the take-up lever. Now I'm going to go back down on the left side. Then we're going to come back here, and I see a number 5. So here's the 5, and there's always a metal guide here somewhere. All right, so this thread needs to go behind that metal guide, and then always right above the needle shaft you'll see another guide, and that helps keep the thread nice and flush against the shaft of the needle, so you don't have, like if you're sewing really fast, you don't have it just kind of flopping in the air around the needle. That guide is going to allow the thread to ride straight down into the needle eye, so that can be tricky to see, but just know right above the needle shaft there is another little thread guide, and I'm just going to feed it from on the left side behind it, and now it's there. And then the last step is to thread the actual needle itself, and this model, the LB5020, actually has an automatic needle threader. So let me show you how I set that up to work. All right, so I have it behind the guide at the needle. All right, so now I need to come over here on the left side. There's a little lever sticking up, and you need to bring that down, and you can see if you bring it all the way down, it locks in position. Okay, when you look at it super close, it should be engaged to where there's a tiny hook coming out through the needle eye at this point. So now my job is just to drape this over the hook that's in the needle eye, so that when I release this up, it pulls the thread right through the needle eye. So that's kind of how the mechanism of the needles work, the needle or automatic needle threaders work. So the way I do it is I come over to the left side, over this little white plastic thing, I go over the left of it and under it, like that. And then I come straight over, and I can see it going like it's caught in the hook. So I'm just bringing this part, again, over, bring it straight over. It falls right where the hook is in the needle eye. And as I'm holding it lightly there, don't hold too tight because then the hook won't be able to pull the thread from your hands to thread the needle. I'm going to bring this up. And you see that when it releases it, it already grabbed the thread. So it threaded my needle for me, just like that. So I'm going to do it one more time. This will take some practice. Every machine is slightly different. I bring down the needle threader to engage it. I bring this over on the left side and then over to the right. And then I just push up on it. And it took the thread with it, so I know that my needle is threaded. So just take it back off the hook. If it gets caught... That one got caught on the hook a little bit more. And then it's threaded. All right? Then you just run that thread through the slit in your presser foot, drape it to the back of your machine, and you're ready to start sewing. Okay? Now let me remove this bobbin from in here, and I'll show you how to position the bobbin that we just wound. So when we take off this little cap, it has a little black button here with a little arrow telling you just push this to the right, and then it releases the little cap. So you can take it off. And when you look on the little cap itself, it's going to have a diagram image here telling you how to feed the bobbin thread correctly. All right. So what you want to do is make like a letter P with the bobbin. So this is the round bit, meaning the tail needs to be hanging off of the left side. Okay. So like a P for party, we say. And then you drop it in here. And there are some arrows carved into the plastic bits here telling you come down into that little metal piece and then over that way. Okay? Then you can just reposition the cap back on. Some people leave this there, some people cut it, some people bring up the thread before they go. Either way, it's going to work fine. So once the bobbin is in place and the top of my machine is threaded, if you're used to mechanical machines, you can now, grab the top thread, the one coming from the needle, hold it, and turn the hand wheel towards you, one full rotation. And then if you tug on that, you'll see that you'll have brought up that bobbin thread under here. So I just take something that I can slip under there and pull up both threads to start off with. That way I have both threads coming out from underneath the presser foot, and I don't have any bits sticking out through here. So you can do that and manually bring up the thread tails, right? The bobbin thread up through there. So I always start off with 5 or 6 inches of a tail, and I just drape them to the back of my machine. Now let's go ahead and do a sample line here of just some straight stitches. Make sure everything has been threaded correctly and see what our seam looks like. Oh, it's beautiful. The stitch quality is just so amazing for such an affordable machine. Super sturdy seam. Everything looks good. Now the machine also includes a little thread cutter back here on the side. So as you pull out your project, you can run it right over that. And there's a blade inside there that will cut your threads. So that is an option For me, I prefer to just have my little snips on hand if I'm using a machine that doesn't have automatic thread cutter, because by the time I run it through there, it's not going to give me as close of a trim of the threads as I would like, but I just wanted to make a quick mention to let you know that it's there. Other things that you may be interested in are, where is it? Back here. This machine has an option to put the feed dogs down. So if you do like free motion embroidery or free motion quilting, you may want to put this little lever over. So if you move it over, it will sink the feed dogs down as it just did here, okay? And then if you flip it back to bring the feed dogs up, keep in mind, notice I switched it back, the feed dogs didn't pop up. They will only pop up after you take the first stitch. So don't freak out if you say, oh no, I broke it, you know, because you turned the feed dogs or you put the feed dogs down and then you're trying to bring them back up and it's not popping up. You'll see when I take a few stitches on fabric that they will then re-engage and come up after it's been set to the correct setting. So it's feeding the fabric, so obviously we know that the feed dogs are now up, okay? So just remember that, and there they are, back up. So you can adjust that there as well. All right, and that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and make sure to click the subscribe button because I have another video coming out where I'm going to share with you my review of this JUKI LB5020 and show you how it stitches through different types of fabrics. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.